I know you can't see me, but I am here. I'm wearing camouflage. You can hear my voice. I'm here. Listen, what I'm going to talk... Well, you have to listen. You can't look, can you? What I'm going to talk about today is something I should have mentioned a couple of days ago when I said I've been in touch with a club and we were discussing finances. How much money would West Ham lose due to the current situation? Because I was concentrating so much on the finances, there was a little sentence in there which I sort of just overlooked. And it went along the lines of, we don't even know at the moment when the transfer window is going to start, so we're unable to offload any players. And it really took me to go back over it and just reread everything when I was looking at the figures and thought, oh, hold on, that's quite an interesting sentence, really, because it's quite telling in the mindset. And I know. I mean, look, if we really condense it, you're going to say, well, why are you surprised? Clearly, they want to sell players with skin. No story here. No, there's not. But it does feed into something else that I've seen. Because with the uncertainty of the transfer window, there's only really three things. Either you're not interested when the transfer window is, or you are interested when the transfer window is so as you can buy players, or you're interested when the transfer window is so as you can sell players. And it was just interesting that that was the sentence. We don't know when we'll be able to offload players. And we've discussed many times on here which players would be attractive to other clubs, which players we'd possibly look to offload. I don't think the choices are too much, so I just found it very, very interesting. When I clicked on Claret and Hugh today, yesterday, I'm doing this, the night before, burning the midnight oil, well, not midnight, to be fair, 8:51. Not really midnight oil, is it? But anyway, so today, Wednesday, article on Claret and Hugh, right? And I thought, oh, hold on, this fits in with what that sentence said. Allow me to read. Says, a number of players could be available given the right... I don't know why I'm doing the voice. A number of players could be available given the right of... No, I won't do that. Anyway. A number of players could be available given the right offers to help David Moyes' summer transfer kitty as he attempts to snap up young, hungry players to reshape his West Ham squad. We know he likes the young players from the Championship. The Red Bull model, albeit from the Championship. While players like Declan Rice will be off limits this summer, a number of other players will be allowed to leave if their valuations are met. Remember the first bit. While players like Declan Rice will be off limits. Remember that. Because we're going to contradict that at the end. Goes on to say, those who would be allowed to depart for the right price are thought to include Felipe Anderson, Fabian Balbuena, Albion Ajeti, Manuel Lanzini, Arthur Masuaku, Jack Wilshere, Ryan Fredericks and Andriy Yarmolenko. But literally, no one is safe if the right money is offered. Well, they can't both be true, can they? I don't know. I took my glasses. I was going to leave my glasses. I think I just took the glasses off for dramatic effect. Put them back on for reading. But literally, nobody is safe if the right money is offered. But while players like Declan Rice will be off limits, they're not both true. They can't both be true. I'll finish the article, then I'll go back and look at these players. West Ham first needs to know which division they'll be playing in next season. We discussed this. The club are very nervous, so they should be. They need to know what division they're going to be in before a transfer strategy and a target list can be drawn up. I hope this second bit is not true. I hope the target list is drawn up, one for the Championship, one for the Premier League. And then once you know your fate, then you go to whichever list. Says, with a football financial crisis due to the global pandemic, transfer funds will be tight. Not surprising. And it's likely to be a case of sell to buy in a depressed transfer market. Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. The transfer window is likely to open on the 27th of July, 24 hours after the season ends. Okay. Those who will be allowed to depart for the right price. What's the right price? The price is right. Fabian Balbuena. Let's start off with Balbuena because, again, there's been some. There was an article again today suggesting that Balbuena was not had failed to live up to expectations. I disagree. I think he's exceeded expectations for a £4 million player. But I have always been of the mindset that Balbuena's always going to be susceptible to a bid because you can make a profit on him. He's not so brilliant that he's a mainstay of the team. He's not our best centre-half. If he came in and was our best centre-half at £4 million, you'd possibly keep him around. £4 million and someone that you can sell for... I thought there was a time when we could have probably got 15 million for Balbuena. But as I say, the depressed transfer market, probably not now. But you keep him. You would keep him at that point. I think now you could probably still make a profit. One of the few. So I think if somebody came in with 6 million for Balbuena, I think we'd sell him. What we'd do with that 6 million, I don't know. Because I wouldn't sell him, by the way. Because I think that only leaves us with two centre-halves of... Unless Winston Reed's coming back or something's happening there. I think you need, particularly for the foreseeable future, you need as many centre-halves you can get, and you're not going to be able to replace him for £6 million. Okay. Felipe Anderson, what's the right price? I think we spent out 35 million, that or thereabouts. We're not getting that back. We're just not. A good player on his day. Fast, direct, but his output has not been good enough. There's not enough assists and not enough goals to warrant getting... Basically, if he's not providing assists, he's not providing goals. I think he can, he just hasn't. Then he becomes a luxury. I think he's quite important to our system as it stands currently because we don't have that many players with pace. But if you were going to get somebody else in with pace, then he's replaceable. We ain't getting 36 million. I don't know if we were getting that. Maybe... I think if 25 came in, as much as it would stick in the throat of David Sullivan, if he turned around to David Moyes and said, you know, this has come in, David Moyes probably would say, well, I can do something with that money. I think we'd take 25 for him. A Jetty, would we buy him for 6 or 7? I think we'd take 4. I really do. He couldn't command any more money, could he? And I thought I think there were buyers. There's going to be a lot of people out there with enough money to buy the likes of a Jetty. Not so many buyers out there with the money to buy Felipe Anderson, particularly on big wages, but I think a Jetty, I think he can go. Manuel Lanzini, I mean, this is a tricky one. He's on a new 5-year contract. This is funny because we know that David Moyes likes him from his first stint in charge. And you just wonder what he's seen and if he's now looked and think this is not the same player. And many would agree he's not been the same player and he doesn't look like the same player. But I still think there's a player in there. What would we get for him? I don't think we'd get much more than 10, 15 million for him, which would be a massive shame because I think his height. I don't mean his height. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how his stature. I'm talking about his finest level of performance. Somebody had come in with 30 million for Lanzini. I would have said, actually, I don't want to take it. I think he's his best magnificent player. 10, 15, it's not a lot of money, but again, you could probably do something in the Championship for that. Arthur Masuaku, this is the big one. He's just signed a new 5-year contract. Who's going to take the wages? I just can't see it. I think he costs 6, 7 million. If somebody came in with 6, 7 million, you'd bite their hand off, really, but I can't see it. What's the right price? I think if somebody came in with 3 million, the club would probably turn around and say, oh, no, we're not having that. That's insulting. No. And then another offer wouldn't be forthcoming. So I think they'd find that insulting, but I don't think they're going to get the money back. They thought, Jack Wilshere, you're going to get no money for Jack. So I guess the right price for Jack Wilshere is just not paying him for the final year of his contract because he leaves. Who's going to take him on? I don't know. I do think it's largely dependent on how Jack performs from now until the end of the season. So let's say Jack makes 3 starts and 4 substitute appearances, for example, between now and the end of the season, whatever, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Features a bit. I think if he stays fit, somebody might think, actually, I'll take a little risk on him. Not to the extent he will never get a bigger, richer contract than the one he's just had. Wilshire's not going somewhere else to sign for 100 grand a week. But he might well get a 2-year contract on 30 grand a week with appearances or something like that. But it would be a case of us not having to pay his wages. Ryan Fredericks. Well, I mean, this is interesting. We've spoken about right backs quite a lot here. Again, he's on 50 grand a week. It's a lot of money. But we got him on a free. I think if somebody came in with 2 or 3 million, it's a profit. And you don't pay his wages. We'd have to make it less because whoever he went to would have to give him a good signing on fee because he's not going to go and earn 50 grand a week somewhere else. Final one, Andriy Yarmolenko. I just can't. Who would sign him? West Ham, I guess. We did, buried it, even though he had a terrible injury record. He's still got a terrible injury record. He would have to have an outstanding run-in between now and the end of the season to really entice anybody to come in for him. And I just can't see it happening because why would you put anyone other than Jarrod Bowen in that position on the right-hand side? I just can't see it. So you're looking at, can Yarmolenko come off the bench and produce some absolutely stunning cameo appearances and score some goals and do enough sparkle, enough to attract somebody else to come in for him? I can't see it, if for no other reason that David Moyes is not a prolific substitution operator. What am I talking about? You know what I mean? He doesn't do many substitutions. So the chances of Yarmolenko being brought on in the 60th minute and having enough time to make an impact on the game, I just can't see that happening. With that in mind, I don't even know how long he's got left. I don't mean in his life, obviously. I mean in terms of his contract. He's still on big money. Who's going to come and take him? I think he must be on 80 grand a week, something like that. We've lost that 16, 17 million we paid for him. That's gone. Bad business. Really bad business. It's a lot of money to pay for the... You tell me, how many times has Yarmolenko sparkled in a West Ham shirt? It's not 10. Don't tell me it's 10. It's less than 10. A lot less than 10. It's somewhere between. It's somewhere. I think he might have sparkled 6 or 7 times. 17 million and 80 grand a week over 3-year, 4-year contract is a lot of money to spend for not much return. But we're good at that. We've already discussed Wiltshire, Andy Cole. There's a lot of players. Kieran Dyer, Freddie Youngberg. There's a lot of players that we've spent big money on to get a handful of good games from. But that's really it. If that's what we've got to do, that's what we've got to do to offload players, and that's who we've got to offload, then I don't think it looks too promising unless there are some really, really good deals to be had in the Championship and what David Moyes wants to do. With that in mind, when we go back to the while players like Declan Rice will be off limits, the sentence on the next paragraph does finish, but literally nobody is safe if the money is right. I just wonder how long into that very short transfer window, by the way, I wonder how far into that transfer window we get with nobody being sold, where David Moyes starts to think, Declan Rice. I'd be tempted to get rid of him.